Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to another Thunderbird live coding session. How's everybody doing? Welcome, welcome. This is a wonderful, lovely, cloudy, but at least it's not raining Sunday. Yes, Sunday, definitely. Friday afternoon here in Vancouver. How are you doing? Where are you connecting from? What time is it in your place? Just let me know who I'm talking to and who's watching this video. But today, as usual, first I renamed this as Thunderbird Live Coding because a lot of people were confused by the hacking thing, live hacking. Like, are you hacking Thunderbird? How are you hacking Thunderbird? What are you doing? Are you stealing the source code or things like that? No, nothing of that sort. Like, Thunderbird is open source. You can not hack it. I mean, you can, but why would you do that? Something like that. Anyway, this is a live coding session where we're going to go through some of the features that I'm currently working on Thunderbird. I'm going to show you some live coding. We can discuss about a bunch of different things. Feel free to ask all the questions that you want about Thunderbird, about me, about the channel, about any other coding related questions. We can have a nice conversation while I show you my work. And today we're going to continue the work that I started last week or a few weeks ago about recreating all custom elements for the message header. It's a very, very, very complicated thing, but it's almost done, at least for the initial custom elements. So let me show you how things are going. Oof, so tired. Hey, Avery's. Hi from Germany. Good to see you again. Good to see you, Avery's. What time is it? Like, what are you doing still awake? What's happening? In Germany, it's night. You should be asleep. Hey, you need to take care of yourself. All right, so let's get started here. Put this down a little bit so can reach my keyboard more easily. We're gonna start with the header fields a little bit here. So I created pretty much all the custom elements. Actually, let's take a look at how it looks, the message header right now as of today. Farhan, hello from Pakistan. Hey man, how you doing? What time is it in Pakistan right now? Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so let's launch oh yeah, we need to fix the test also. Let's launch Thunderbird right now. I have this testing fake account that I'm using. Ooh. Oh, I'm so tired. I should get a coffee. I have this testing fake account that I'm using with a Yandex email, so I can write all the emails that I want and it's fine. I can test it. There's no problem. Before I was actually using my real account with a lot of real email addresses of other people like Mozilla Foundation, Mozilla Corporation executives, and people were kind of freaking out. Just, oh, my emails are live streamed. Those are public emails, like it's fine. So Avery's, it's 9 in the morning of Saturday. Oh, it's midnight and 9 minutes. Why wouldn't I still be awake? Well, it's midnight. Come on. At midnight, you should be asleep. But you're right. You can do whatever you want. Hello from Portugal. Hello, Gervasio. Gervasio? Is it correct? No, I'm sorry from mispronouncing your name. I know that the J in Spanish is pronounced like it's La Jota, but I don't know about Portuguese. Anyway, it's 11 p.m. Nice. Oh, in Pakistan it's 3 in the morning. Yeah, Farhan, you should definitely be asleep right now. Anyway, this is the current state of the message header. I'm currently recreating all the things that we had before, but here we have a bunch of different options and a bunch of different styling, but I'm not focused on the styling right now. I'm focused on the actual code and the custom elements because the old custom elements were a mess. It's just horrible. If you're interested, you can take a look at the old videos, like the videos that I did at the beginning of this week. It was Monday, where I explain all the issues with the old custom elements, all the issues of the code. And I can show you what I did so far. So this is my current patch here. And these are all the edits that I did. These are all the files that I touched, and these are the old custom elements. We had these mods mail headers address, a Zool element extending a million different lines of things, and then other custom elements to do pretty much the same thing, but just with a comma different. So instead of having one custom element with some conditions and changing these dynamically, we had like a bunch of different things. It was just horrible. This in red, this is all the code that I deleted, like old code. And then in green, we have all the new code that I created. So we have some replacement. I recreated some new custom elements inside the header fields. And these new custom elements are way easier to read, are just default HTML, easier to extend, easier to manipulate, and just they work way better. And I'm very, very happy about it. And I also deleted a million different lines of code from the message header. This file, I have no idea who built this originally, but what we were doing here, basically, we were grabbing the content of the message header or of the custom field, then sending data to a procedural method inside the message header, and then something was happening, we were manipulating data and then sending it back to the custom element. So we were going back and forth inside outside the custom element. It was just yuck. So yes, not not great. Oh, Gervasio, okay, it's fake name, so Gervasio. Gervasio. Avery says removing chunks of code usually feels rather rewarding. Oh my god, so good when you can just delete all these bunch of crap that it was just horrible to see. Crusty old code, like a colleague said. But yeah, what I need to do today, I think I pretty much nailed all the custom elements used to do all the header fields. So all the main header fields, like the main recipients, the from, the to, CC, BCC, we don't have any example here. But if I show you, where is it? Where is it? Here, I go to view, headers. Let's go to all headers. Then we have a bunch of extra header recipients or like header fields that most likely a lot of users don't see, but they're still there. All the extra information. These are just text fields. Also, these, for whatever reason, are custom elements. I need to simplify this and create just a simple text field, and that's it. We don't need a custom element for these things. But I need to fix things for the news group, because news groups are kind of recipients, are kind of email recipients, but they have like less interaction points. When you compose an email or when you compose a message to a news group, you need to do it differently. So we need to first set up a news group. Let me remove these bunch of extra headers. So we're going to set up a new news group account here. Let's use my be@iHad.com. Yeah, next. News group server. What is that? Don't remember. Let's search for the Mozilla news group. Do you have a news group that I should subscribe to? Mozilla news group server. No, I don't need to create a news group account. Join news group. Why Mozilla doesn't have a repository of all their things? Should be like news@mozilla.org, if I'm not wrong. Is it news@mozilla.org? Manage subscriptions. Use them as, oh yes, I remember. I'm a genius. Let's search for something Thunderbird related. Mozilla Dev, Mozilla support. Yeah, let's go MDA, Mozilla Dev Thunderbird, and let's go subscribe. All right, open it up. No, let's download only 5 headers and mark remaining all headers are red. Download. I don't wanna. Okay, great. We got our thingies here. Perfect. So you can see receiving a news group. First, news groups are slow as hell because they are on depend on the server. But here we have these news group stuff that, yes, you have a sender. You have someone that sends you an email. So this works normally. But then you have also an extra header that is called the news group. And when you reply to this email, you could send it through your news group account and send it to that specific news group. So here we have a problem because here already this should be filled with this news group, Mozilla Dev. So this is not working, it's not grabbing. I think we're having an error. Yeah, here we have an error. Server type undefined. So this is the first thing that we noticed, like the news group is not filled automatically in the current version. With the older header, we grab the news group name and we pre-populate the writing thing. So when you write into a news group, yes, you need to submit it to someone if you want, but also share it in the news group. So you can have a recipient, a sender, or a CC, BCC, like the usual default header fields, but also you have a news group. And news group, they behave kind of like addresses, but not really. So it's kind of like you're posting on a public forum and you have a unique URL to post it. It's like Craigslist, or I don't think Reddit has like remote posting, but yeah, that's a news group. So if I click now on compose, and actually I'm gonna show you, like I'm gonna put it here. No, you don't see it because it goes to, actually, let me move these around. I'm gonna put these here and then we're gonna have an error here. If I click here and then compose, boom, yeah, is all the error. We don't have hide email news pop-up, send mail to node, like all these things don't work because of the new header style. So we need to fix the way that we handle news group. And then we have also this is another custom element, these references. References are a list of IDs that most messages don't come with. But if you're part of a news group, or it's an intranet, or it's very complicated matters, these references are present and need to be printed and need to be showed to the user. So we need also a custom element for this thing. But for now, I'm going to focus on the newsgroup stuff. Newsgroup stuff is handled by the newsgroup pop-up. So first of all, we got here, whoopsie, newsgroup. Okay, so this is the recipient newsgroup. Let's see in the message header. I need to investigate this because this code is just yuck. So first of all, actually, let me open the inspector and see if I don't think I already replaced this custom element. I think this custom element is still old. Yeah, mail news group is the old custom element. And I don't want to replace it right now. Should I replace it? This is annoying. I don't know. Email display, but I'm gonna replace it later. I don't care right now. But the thing that I'm interested is the pop-up panel. Newsgroup pop-up. Which is here, and the newsgroup pop-up is set up in newsgroup pro, trigger node, go update, hide email, use pop-up. Why is this? We don't need this, so this is done, gone. We don't need that, it's fine. Newsgroup pop-up, first of all, send message, send mail to node. I deleted that, send mail to node. We don't have it because I replaced it with the new compose message here. Create filter, copy string, copy address, compose message. The compose message gets the A parent node header field. The header field is the recipient full address. So I need to replace this custom element. Okay, I need to replace this. All right, I need to replace this. So yeah, let's create a newsgroup custom element. So first of all, let's take a look at how the newsgroup was handled in the previous widgets here. Let's search for newsgroup. Oh, mods mail newsgroup. Okay, mail newsgroup. How many times is this used? A couple of times. We got expanded newsgroups and expanded follow-up and mail newsgroup header fields. So this is a group of things. And this is the group, output newsgroup. Oh God. Add newsgroup. Oh, I see. Wow, this is terrible. Every time I look at these custom widgets, it's just woof, just yuck. Okay, so the newsgroup here, it's actually only dynamically generated in the build views. Okay, I see. Okay, I think it's easy enough to do it. Okay, let's do this. First of all, let's create the new newsgroup element. So what I'm gonna do, what I like to do, especially when I coding something new that reference or update something old on another file, I like to split this. So I keep the other file to the right and I got the new code to the left. So I go right at the bottom here and I create a new class. Whoopsie. What is it? Mail newsgroup here. Ooh. Class. Let's keep this consistent. Header row. Newsgroup. How did I call recipient newsgroup? Do we have a class newsgroup anywhere? If we don't, I'm gonna call it this newsgroup field, newsgroup value. Let's say we'll newsgroup for now, which this extends a simple HTML li item or lead element, because these I'm gonna have the mail newsgroup field, like the mail newsgroup container that prints all the newsgroups, because you could send one email to multiple newsgroups, so we need to report that. Needs to contain multiple newsgroups. So to contain multiple newsgroups, we're gonna have a UL, like an order list, OL, and then inside we're gonna have li elements. So we're gonna create a li element, and when you create a newsgroup, when you create a custom elements are it's like a regular class. It's like a object-oriented class. So you have your constructor, and then you can define all the methods that you want, and you can define getters like get header name, something like that, or setter, set header name, whatever you want. But the interesting thing about the custom elements, like the HTML custom elements, especially if you extend an HTML element, is that you can build, you have a bunch of like constructing methods. One is the constructor. The constructor is called right away. When you initialize the custom elements or you generate the custom elements, that constructor is immediately created. And when you call methods in the constructor, those methods should be a one-time call. So whenever you need to generate it for the first time, like if you need to assign a class, if you need to assign a event listener, like on click do these, or on key press do that. Then custom elements comes with the connected callback method. The connected callback method, it's called only when, oh god, okay, it's called only when the custom element is actually attached to the DOM. When the custom element is attached to the DOM, the connected callback is called. And what does it mean attached to the DOM? Attached to the DOM, it means when it's written in the HTML. So you could generate, for example, I have this header recipient. This is a header recipient is another, it's fairly similar. This is where I'm printing all the emails. And this header recipient custom element extends the Lee element. This header recipient is generated in here. Look at this. Look at this. I'm creating a new Lee element inside a container and doing document create li element, which is a header recipient. Then I need to append the child. Only after I append the child, the connected callback will be called and all the HTML inside that element will be generated. So that's the main difference between a constructor and a connected element. Inside a constructor, you cannot do append child because this constructor is not called when the element is inside the HTML already. So there's nothing to append to. There's no parent to append to. This is just foggy around. So usually you can create a custom element by just ignoring the constructor. If you don't need to do anything, if you don't want to add an observer or if you don't want to add any static thing, just ignore it entirely and it's totally fine. And same thing here. You can see in the old custom elements that extend the Zool, we just have connected callbacks because whatever, it's fine. Like we don't need any other thing. In this case, for example, I'm creating a simple header. Simple header here, I'm not generating any HTML. I'm not creating any new element, any new markup. I'm simply adding a class to this class, adding like a CSS class to this custom elements class. I'm setting an attribute to itself and adding an event listener of the right click. And all of these things in the constructor, they can work even, I mean, they will never get triggered unless that custom element is generated, is attached into the DOM. So defining those things in the constructor even before the custom element is available as an actual element in the HTML doesn't matter. It doesn't create any problems. But if I do something like append child, or I generate something like I generate a new element and I set an attribute to the new element and then I try to fetch that attribute, it won't be available because in the constructor it doesn't happen. In the DOM, it's just there. Well, let's do it. Okay, so here I had a row. I'm creating header row. I want to create I want to add a class list and then add a tab index 0 because also this should be focusable. This is not header row. This is message header newsgroup. I've been adding a bunch of classes here. Multi-recipient row, recipients lists, header recipient, header row. Let's use header newsgroup just for consistency. So we add in a class to this element. And then inside this element, we can add a bunch of newsgroup, get attribute newsgroup. What the fuck is this? Okay. Text content newsgroup. Oh my god. So in the old custom, if I'm reading this correctly, in the old custom element, we were generating a newsgroup field, which is just a Zool element, so it's just a box basically. And then this element we were assigning when generating, let me check if I'm right. When generating, we were assigning an attribute called newsgroup. Yep. So we're creating a newsgroup element, then setting the newsgroup attribute, and then deferring the text content, setting the value inside this from the actual. Oh my god. This is horrible. Oh, why we're doing this? God. We're setting the custom elements here for the newsgroup pop-up. So the only thing that I need to do here Oh, yucky, man. This is terrible. 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 This is terrible. Okay, so what are we doing here? In the old customer, if I click or right click, it does the same, right? Or click and right click. Okay. So I can do this. I can set this at event listener. Click. And pass this. We need to do something. Open email event. Yeah, basically need to copy these things. But I need a different event here. So on context menu, open newsgroup email address, newsgroup pop-up. Open, boom, boom, newsgroup pop-up. The newsgroup pop-up, we need let's call this header newsgroup as method, and we can define this custom element. So let's define this custom element has extends the Lee element. This is header newsgroup, and call it header newsgroup. Okay. Inside here, we can create a private method, which is not really private, but using the underscore, it's kind of like unspoken rule that this method, it's only gonna be called from within the class itself. Nothing is gonna be calling this from outside this class. So we can open the newsgroup, and the newsgroup is the newsgroup pop-up. So if we call these, well, we need to do a bunch of stuff, but yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna copy this code because I'm lazy. I don't want to rewrite it. So the newsgroup pop-up is the pop-up. Pop-up header field is this, and then if we have a screen event, which means it was a click event or a right click event, we open it at, if we don't have it, we'd open it at the target itself, so the element after start, the pop-up. If we actually have this, we're gonna open it at the location of the click, which is okay. But the newsgroup pop-up here, something needs to happen, because the newsgroup pop-up, the main pop-up here, on pop-up showing, set up the newsgroup pop-up. And this is something that it's annoying, because the setup newsgroup pop-up method, it's only triggered by this very own pop-up, and it's only triggered when this pop-up is opened by the newsgroup. So that's the thing. The custom element opens the pop-up calls a method that is procedural side, and the pop-up method that is procedural tries to fetch the custom element again and checks for things. And this is annoying. This is just terrible. So we need to clean this up, but for now let's keep it at this and see what's happening. How does this fetch the custom element? Newsgroup node, get attribute newsgroup. Oh, yo, it's fetching the newsgroup attribute. Oh god, terrible. This is terrible. All right, are you guys sleeping? Is this interesting? Is this annoying? What do you think? Just let me know in the comments. I feel terrible. This is prime content here. This is like primo. Okay, so set up news group. Let's continue the custom element. Then we're gonna deal with the pop-up later. So we have our header fields here. We got our custom element. We are setting the header field so we can use the same thing. Okay, event target. Okay. Okay. Let's keep it this way. Okay, now we need to define the mods mail news group header field. So the actual fields that contains all these news groups. So let's create a class and call it header news group. Container news groups container news groups row. This is the row. So extends HTML div element. I'm still somewhat awake. I guess I'll need to watch the recording later. Avery's, yes, you should go to sleep, Avery. Okay, so header news groups row. We're gonna call it this way. And we can define this as a custom element. So header news groups row, it's header news groups row. Oops, news groups row. Okay, header news groups row, header news groups row. Okay. Let's do this. Let's create a private news groups array and is recipients here, right? Yeah, we can copy this comment because this is correct. So we're setting up private. You know that now JavaScript sets this, like if you use the hash or the pound symbol, if you're old like me, this is a private attribute that cannot be accessed, assigned, or manipulated from outside this class. This is what the JavaScript folks decided to use as a symbol for private. Instead of being literal, like private, like every other object-oriented programming private news group, no. They decided to go with this stupid symbol. Amazing. You have friends over. Good for you. Okay, the array of all the news groups that need to be shown in this widget. Actually, it is in this row. Yeah. This is a type of array. Okay, great. Then we can create the connected callback method, which this class list add. What is this? Recipients, what are we adding here? Multi-recipient row. So this should be, let's give it a class identical to the name of the widget. So we like this. News groups. All right. Connect a callback. We just need this. We don't need an observer because news groups cannot be saved. If given a chance, I'll call it Octothorpe. Octothorpe. Best name. It's just a million different spelling mistakes. Then we need add news group. We need a public method where we can send the news group here and push it inside the news group. Push news group. Push inside the array. Then we need a clear method, which these replace children, just clears everything, and this news groups resets the array. Yes. And then we need a method called build view. Whoopsie. Which is triggered to for loop let news group of this news groups let li equal document create element. It li, but it's also is is, how did we name this? Header and news group. Okay. Bam. Right. Let's do oh, we need okay, so this news group, let's copy this recipients. Yes, it is. Let's do this. So we need to create a container. Instead of recipients, I'm gonna call it news groups list. News groups. Okay, so we are creating a news groups list, which is the unordered list, giving a class called news groups list and appending this child. So we can do these news group lists, and in fact we need to clear these news groups list and not the whole container. And we can say these news groups list append child li, then li text content, it's equal to news group. Okay, done. We get our beautiful message header. So instead of doing all this crap here, creating a node, setting an attribute, we just set the text content of the news group name. I think that's fine. Matthias, hello. Yes, this is JavaScript. So my VS Code updated yesterday, and they updated the theming of the community theme that I was using with these fancy multi-million-dollar colors. I really don't like it. It's very distracting. I don't like this at all. Yay. All right. So we have this now. So let's do something. Let's print it out. In the message header, we have these two newsgroup fields. So let's replace them with HTML div ID is header news groups. Oh, mistake. HTML div. Boom. Let's go to the end. Then go back here. Indent is equal header row. Boom. And then data header name equal data header name. It's equal to, this is news groups and this is follow up to. Okay. All right. So we replace this now. And most likely this is not gonna work. And I'm sure 100% this is not gonna work. But let's compile, let's see what type of errors we get. Because we need to update the methods that are actually using those custom elements, because there's custom elements, the code expects the old add news group view and things like that, but we need to replace that. So let's run this and see how many errors we get as soon as we select our news group here. For example, this, yes, see, news groups is completely empty, this is broken, and we have a bunch of elements. So first of all, the add news groups view is not a function, because the add news groups view, we replace that with a more generic, what is it, add news group. Yeah, add news groups view is bonkers. So there you go. Header, add news group. Perfect. Let's close this. Okay. Add news groups. Header value, output news group. Enclosing box, build view. We did that. Splitting and adding the news group. Why we're... Could I pass this directly? Okay, I can do the... I can pass this, yeah, it's fine. All right, let's see if that was enough to make it work. I don't think so, but I don't think so. All right. Man, I'm so tired. All right, let's print this. It's loading. Oh, we got some. We got some though. Oh, we don't have an error. And we actually have the value here. And if we click, it opens the thing. Of course, we have a bunch of issues for the pop-up, but we'll deal with. We need to style these thingy. So it's mostly CSS, which is great. So let's do it. First of all, is these header news groups row, is the news groups list, recipients list, this class. I need to copy this class and see what we're doing here. Okay, so this, it's equal to news groups list, and then header recipient, span break word, header recipient. And then we are generating a bunch of these news group, the element, and we're giving a class or header news group instead of header recipient. So header news group, there you go. Header news group, as well as header news group over header recipient, knowledge child. Yeah, let's do this as well. Because if we have multiple news groups, we want to separate them with a comma. Right? How does it look now? Hey, hey, look at this. Looks good. Eh? So if I right click, I'm gonna have a bunch of errors. If I click on it, it's fine. If I go, can I focus it? Oh, I need the okay, I need to fix the outline. Outline 2 pixels, outline 2 pixel, header recipient, header row, focus visible, and let's duplicate this, also header news group. We can potentially just collapse this between header recipients and this news group. We could call a more generic like header field or header value. I'm gonna do it later to clean these up. But let me see if I'm missing something else for the header recipient. Header recipient news group doesn't have a span, image inside. We don't have this. Matches, message header label, header appeal. Okay, great. Great. And we got it. Micah! Welcome, welcome. Yes, I'm working on the email nonsense or the newsgroup nonsense of the last session. I need to fix this as well. Border radius. I need a border radius here. Okay. I need to fix these little things, but I created a custom element who's sending me emails. Oh, I'm using my actual email. Okay. I should be using Macron actually. Yeah, there you go. This is my testing email. All right. So now that we created a custom element, we can fix these shenanigans here because we don't need that shenanigans anymore. So we create a new custom element. Now the old custom element, that is these newsgroup fields, what's happening in here, nothing happens. We can remove these. Deleting stuff, it's so good. And then mail newsgroup, is this used anymore? Mail news headers field is done here. Custom element define, expanded mail newsgroup. This is a test that we will need to fix. Expanded newsgroup, email display button, query selector, header value element. We need to fix this. This is not it's not correct. We'll need to fix all this shit, but we can delete also this. Yay, we're cleaning up. So I'm cleaning up a lot of things, even if it seems that I'm duplicating stuff. Is that the fact that all the header fields should be inside a file called header fields. That even if I created a bunch of headers, we already have 500 lines of code, which is absolutely manageable. But the mail widgets, because we slapped all the widgets inside, we reached, what is this? 2,600 lines of code, which is too much. It's too much. It's not manageable. So we need to clean this thing up. All these tags and message IDs will go in the header field, and yes, multi-mail message header fields. Amen. Okay, let's rewrite this. Take string of newsgroups. Take a string of newsgroups separated by commas, split it into newsgroups, and send them to the corresponding, and add them to the corresponding header newsgroup row element. Then the header entry, what is this? What parameter is this? The entry data structure for this header. Oh, header entry, so is the instance of the class, the header class. Message header entry, perfect. Message header entry. Data structure for this header. And header value, the string value of the header. So this is a string. This is a string. Comments, and defining the comment type. The string of news groups from the message. This is very important because it helps a lot of developers. Output news groups. Let's rename this method. Instead of output news groups, it should be lowercase. Duplicate everything. Output news groups. Okay. Good stuff. Output news groups. Also, this should be output email address. Let's go lowercase. Output email addresses. Output email addresses. Okay, lowercase. It should be camel case if the the function that is written this way, it starts with lowercase, and then at every word there's an uppercase first letter. This is called camel case. So it's camel case. If it's every word is uppercase, it's called Pascal case. And Pascal case is kind of weird. It's usually used for classes or objects. For procedural methods, camel case makes more sense. Anyway. Linkifying each email address into a mail to URL. Then we add the linkified email address to the parent. No, it's not true. This is not true. This description is incorrect. Okay, let's rewrite this header entry. Oh, also output message header. Okay, so let's copy these because this already has a bunch of things. Sorry, this is boring. It's mostly like low-level maintenance, but header entry, the data structure of this header, email addresses, the string of addresses from the message. Take a string of addresses separated by commas, split it into what does it do? Parse encode header email address. The email address still encoded by the MIME is already converted by racked addresses. Split it into separated recipient objects, because we're adding an address, display name, full, yes, recipient, and add them to the related parent container row. Yeah, this makes more sense. Okay. All right. Stop commenting. Let's fix the, this, you need to rebuild your links because this works, and we can confirm it by building it without having any errors thrown at us or thrown at us. Okay. Oh, not this. Back, run. All right, no errors in the console. If we select this, we got our news group, Mozilla Dev Apps, Thunderbird, Mozilla Dev Apps, Thunderbird. So 3 times. So it's not clearing things up because, of course, in the header fields, when we build the views, we need to replace children. Always clear the view before replacing the children. Right? Do I need to rebuild for this? So we got 1 news group. We got 3 news groups. No. Build. I fixed you. I fixed you. Nope. Mac, run. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Are we calling the clear in the connected, in the message header here? All the things that I changed were in the output method. Output news group, build view, output news group, header entering, closing block. We are not clearing this thing. Clear. If we don't clear it, ouch, we won't. So in the thing that I deleted, we had a method called here in the things that I deleted. Output newsgroup, it's fine. Out email address, just a bunch of comments. Here, what did I delete? So add newsgroups view and build views. How was the old custom element deleting a bunch of things? These was just sending an email. Connected callback. Oh, in the connected callback, it was clearing things up by itself. Clear header values. Clear header values. We have a clear header values here used anywhere? Oh, we do. Flush out any local state being held by header entry for a given table. What is this? Output message IDs. Here we still have it for the message IDs, but clear header view. What's calling this method? This method is called on end headers? Name, entry, and closing. Oh, that's why we didn't get... Oh. Okay, let's do this. If. Clear. So I don't need to do this. Oops. This is important, but I don't need to do this here, because that will clear it. Right? This code, man. This code is 10 times more complicated than it needs to be. And updating some old code base is a game of chess, especially if you're updating something that then you need to push and users will use it right away. This is something that at Thunderbird we're not using, and I hate the fact that we don't have a staging version, like something that we release our code and only the developers can use it. Because if we push this code and we save it and we publish it, then daily users will get it. And if there's something broken, it's just broken, and that's it. So see, we don't have the repetition anymore because we're calling the clear method. But this is very annoying because we cannot just remove everything and rebuild it from scratch. And whenever it's ready, it's ready. We need to do bits and pieces, small updates, left and right, but make sure that all the functionalities are maintained and are held, and we're not breaking things, and it's just the worst. But yeah, the newsgroup stuff is done now, so it's good. All right, so I think I'm gonna stop for today, and I'm gonna continue this afternoon with I'm going to continue this afternoon with the pop-up. Once the pop-up is done, I think the rest of the application, I think the message header work, the initial patch for the message header will be finished, and I can start asking for reviews and do a bunch of extra things. So yeah. That's fab. Right. Okay, do you have any questions? Okay, Avery says, but that's the risk of using the daily version, is it not? Yes, it's a risk that users are aware of, but still, like if you use daily and all of a sudden you cannot read your emails or something breaks, you will report that as a bug, even though myself, I, or anyone else as a developer, we know that we broke that because we are rebuilding it. So it's a bit of a weird situation. Like, we know that we broke something because we're rebuilding it, but we don't want the user to report it because it's just a useless, it's useless time for us to triage the bug report and for the users to actually spend time in reporting a bug that it's already well known. So we try as much as possible to not break the user space, even on daily. That slows down development quite a bit, but is daily it's pretty stable actually. So unless we just release something completely new that crushes everything, daily is pretty good to use, it's pretty good to go, but it adds a little bit of time to the development process. Yeah, I wish we had a completely separated version that is not exposed to the user and we can just use it, and when everything is good and ready we just publish it on daily. But I guess we need another branch or we need other resources to do it. Yeah, makes sense. I'm good. I was able to convince you, Avery. Thank you so much for the question. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for today. So a couple of announcements for my YouTube channel. I bought a bunch of things to redo my studio a little bit. So I'm gonna add some lights. I'm gonna add a better camera because this one, I don't know if you notice, sometimes loses focus, and when there's too much light here, it's all like it's burned. Like this is like, look at it, my hand is white. It's just like bright and burned and cannot handle proper auto correction. So I'm changing camera. I'm moving this arm on another way, so it should be less in the way. And I'm reorganizing my desk a little bit and putting some lights there on the back here. I was expecting to have my 100,000 button thing here, but then I stopped making videos, so I never reached 100,000. I don't think I will ever reach 100,000. I'm stuck at 94,000 for life, which is fine. It's a cozy number. I like it. It's totally fine. Yeah, I'm redoing my studio this weekend, so I'm gonna record a video about it, and then I'm gonna start a series of things to... I have a lot of questions. I got asked many times from various people why I moved to Canada, or my experience of moving to Canada, or changing completely like my lifestyle, or how I basically needed to restart from scratch when I left the country. I needed to restart my career. When I left my country, I was 27. I was kind of like in a almost manager type of role. And then I came here in Canada and I had to restart as a junior level because my English was so bad that even if I was good at my job, I couldn't communicate. So I started as a junior. After 10 years now, I am a manager again. So I got back, like I restarted my career from scratch, and after 10 years I got back at the level that I was 10 years ago in another country with another language. So hopefully it's an interesting story, but a lot of people ask me, especially European people that are curious about living abroad and having the same type of experience that I had, asking me like the pros and cons, my struggle, and what I learned throughout this process. So I'm gonna do a bunch of like a series of those very personal vlogs. I'm gonna share some interesting stories, some great and funny, some a little bit sad, but it was a great life experience. Anyway, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, get the bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And thank you all for joining. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, Matthias. Thank you, Averis, Rafik, Gervasio, if you're still here. Farhan, probably you already quit and you just went to sleep. So like NG plus in another country. I will talk to you all in the next video, and I will do this type of live streaming again once or twice a week. Still continuing working on Thunderbird for the next 2 months until version 102, which is gonna be a super kick-ass version. It's gonna be released, so let's get excited for this, and thank you so much for watching, and until the next one, as usual, happy coding. Bye bye.